today at the BJP legislature party meeting, in fact, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan proposed the name of Mohan Yadav as the next chief minister. So in a way, BJP coming up with a consensus formula, and we saw this just before the meeting, this competitive sloganeering between the supporters of Prahlad Patel and Shivraj Singh Chouhan. In a way, BJP not going for both of them, BJP going for a younger face, and somebody like the experience of Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar, who's been a Union Agriculture Minister, the senior most leader of the party in the state at 68 years of age. He has been chosen as the Speaker of the Assembly.
अपने मन से वास्तव में भारतीय जनता पार्टी ये होती जोरदार ताली बजाए मैं आप सबको प्रणाम करता हूं और आप सबका धन्यवाद अदा करता हूं। केंद्रीय नेतृत्व का, प्रदेश नेतृत्व का, समूचे मंच का, मेरे जैसे छोटे से कार्यकर्ता को हमारे सभी मित्रों ने मिलकर कर आपके मार्गदर्शन में जो जवाबदारी दी, यद्यपि मैं उस लायक नहीं हूँ, लेकिन आप सबका प्रेम, आपका आशीर्वाद, सहयोग मिलेगा तो निश्चित रूप से मैं कोशिश करूँगा। एक बार फिर आप सबका आभार, धन्यवाद।
माननीय प्रदेश अध्यक्ष आदरणीय विष्णुदत्त जी शर्मा भी आज की इस कार्रवाई में
आज नवनिर्वाचित विधायक दल की बैठक में हमारे नए नेता चुने गए आदरणीय मोहन यादव जी जोरदार तालियों से हम उनका अभिनंदन करें और हमारे केंद्रीय पर्यवेक्षक आदरणीय मनोहर खट्टर जी, आदरणीय के लक्ष्मण जी, बहन सुश्री आशा रकड़ा जी, उनका भी मैं बहुत हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं। और विधायक दल की बैठक सभी विधायकों का बहुत बहुत आभार और नए नेताओं की बधाई के साथ सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और बैठक विधिवत तौर पर अब समाप्त होती है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Mohan Yadav addressing the audience gathered over there, saying, I want to thank the central leadership and state leadership for giving me this opportunity, and saying I will try my level best to fulfill my duties. You can see him sitting on the left of Manohar Lal Khattar. The senior BJP leader, the Haryana Chief Minister, was involved in these selection efforts. He's also surrounded by a number of other senior BJP leaders on that stage. Now we'll go back to my colleague Aman in a second when he is through to us. Aman, if we could just ask you more questions now about the choice of Mohan Yadav. You've just told us a little bit about what may have led to that choice. The fact that, for example, Mohan Yadav is younger than the crop of leaders among whose names we were bringing up in the hours leading up to this moment. I do want to ask you though, Aman, even in younger leaders in the Madhya Pradesh BJP, in that 50 plus age group, there were a number of names. So why Mohan Yadav?
I think what that is the formula of the BJP. If you see recent CM choices also, Ridhima, if you see Uttarakhand, somebody like a Pushkar Dhami in his early 50s. If you see Yogi Adityanath in Uttar Pradesh, also a chief minister, who's much younger in age. Now we are seeing that thing being replicated in yesterday in Chhattisgarh, today in Madhya Pradesh. Going for younger faces, going for Gen Next faces who can also have this, new leadership of the party. Now, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan has been 3-time Chief Minister, almost Chief Minister for over 18 years in Madhya Pradesh, So, in a way, moving ahead from him, maybe having some other role for Shivraj Singh Chouhan, we don't know, maybe at the center he will be brought. But also avoiding, as I said, this, because all the 3-4 contemporary leaders of the BJP, the senior leaders of the BJP, are all contemporaries. They started their politics together. Be it Shivraj Singh Chouhan, Narendra Singh Tomar, Prahlad Patel, Rakesh Singh, all of them, and Mr. Tomar itself, Narendra Singh Tomar also, all these 4 to 5 leaders have started their politics together. They are about in their, 60s. So maybe to avoid any kind of dispute there, to choose, whom do you choose? Also, if you make somebody like, Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar as a Chief Minister or Mr. Prahlad Singh Patel as a Chief Minister, will the other senior leaders work under him, who have won as the MLAs? Will they be okay to be ministers? So I think the BJP has avoided that kind of problematic situation together by going for a younger face in Mr. Mohan Yadav, making Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar as the Speaker of the new Assembly. So in a way, I think that is the thought process, and obviously BJP had to go in for a OBC face. That was clear from day one, that they will select an OBC face, but most speculated it will be a toss-up between Shivraj Singh Chouhan and Mr. Prahlad Singh Patel, but BJP has gone for a much younger face. Also, I think bringing Ujjain back into the state politics, back center stage of the state politics, Ujjain Dakshin seat, which has been a very stronghold of the BJP. In fact, Mr. Mohan Yadav has won it thrice now. Since 2013, he is the MLA from this seat. He was also a Minister of Higher Education under the Shivraj Singh Chouhan government. So also somebody whom Shivraj Singh Chouhan trusts. And as I said, this choice also has the blessings and the backing of Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan. Same was the case yesterday in Chhattisgarh when the selection of Mr. Vishnu Deo Sai had the blessings of Mr. Raman Singh. Mr. Raman Singh had proposed to the party that, if you're going for somebody else, this could be one of the names. Same way, I'm sure that the opinion of Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan was also sought on who should be the next chief minister if the party does not go for Mr. Chouhan. And I think the recommendation must have been coming from Mr. Chouhan, because he was the one who today also recommended at the BJP legislature party meeting the name of Mr. Mohan Yadav as the next chief minister. So BJP, I think, going for a younger leadership in all states where it is going, and we could expect such a decision coming, in fact, even tomorrow when the decision on Rajasthan will be taken. That becomes even more interesting, that who now becomes the new chief minister of Rajasthan.
All right, we're going to take a quick look at what the new Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, his family, has to say in reaction. Take a look.
ईमानदारी से, बहुत ईमानदारी से करा है देश के लिए काम, तो उसका फल उनको मिला है।
आपके दिल में कभी ऐसा सोचा भी था आपने सपने में कि
हाँ, हमने सोचा था। हाँ, मेहनत किया था, भगवान ने फल दिया है और मेहनत करेंगे आगे चल के। हाँ, बड़ी बहन बड़ी है। हाँ,
दीदी, ये दीदी है।
हाँ, बड़ी दीदी हूँ।
जी बताइए, आपको किस प्रकार से महसूस हुआ?
अरे बहुत खुशी हो रही है, हमारे भाई जीता तो, और सभी का करते हैं और बहुत तरक्की करेंगे और आगे भी बहुत तरक्की करेंगे वो।
ये सब बाबा
महाकाल की कृपा है, बाबा महाकाल की कृपा है, महाकाल की कृपा से बहुत आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
आप बताओ, महाकाल कितने बड़े भक्त थे?
हाँ, महाकाल तो बहुत बड़े भक्त थे। महाकाल तो जब यहाँ उज्जैन आते तो महाकाल तो जाना होता ही था उनका भी। हाँ हाँ, अभी सुबह भी महाकाल होकर ही आया।
ये इनकी बड़ी बहन है कलावती यादव। जी दीदी, आप बताएं
जी,
कितनी खुशी आपको?
खुशी तो है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की बम्पर जीत मिली और पार्टी का
क्या आपने कल्पना भी की थी इससे कि
भगवान महाकाल का आशीर्वाद है, पार्टी का आशीर्वाद है, और निश्चित रूप से बहुत खुशी की बात है। उन संघर्ष भी बहुत है, 1984 से सतत काम किया है भारतीय जनता पार्टी का, और हमारे विद्यार्थी परिषद के कार्यकर्ता के रूप में राष्ट्रीय स्तर तक काम किया है और सतत काम किया है। निश्चित रूप से उसका परिणाम है, बड़ों का आशीर्वाद है, पार्टी का आशीर्वाद है और बाबा महाकाल का आशीर्वाद।
उनकी दिनचर्या क्या हुआ करती थी दिन में बाबा महाकाल को लेकर? बाबा महाकाल को लेकर दिनचर्या क्या हुआ करती थी उनकी?
बाबा महाकाल को लेकर जब भी उज्जैन में आते थे, बाबा महाकाल का आशीर्वाद लेते थे। कल भी बाबा महाकाल का आशीर्वाद लेकर गए हैं यहाँ से। बिल्कुल, बाबा महाकाल के और बाबा सभी की, देवी देवताओं की और पार्टी के वरिष्ठों की ये जीत है, और पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता के रूप में उनको अपनी एक जिम्मेदारी दी गई है। ऐसा कोई बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी में सीएम होना भी कार्यकर्ता जिम्मेदारी दी गई है। निश्चित रूप से इस जिम्मेदारी को मिलने से हम सब बहुत प्रसन्न हैं। विद्यार्थी परिषद से ही राष्ट्रीय स्तर तक काम किया है। उनकी गुड़िया बहुत छोटी थी, इतनी बड़ी गुड़िया, उनकी बेटी का बालक है, वो बेटी बहुत इतनी बड़ी थी तब शिवा भैया विधायक हुआ करते थे। उन्होंने कहा, मोहन तेरी गुड़िया।
सबसे बड़ी खूबी है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने छोटे से छोटे कार्यकर्ताओं को उठाती है और सीधे मुख्यमंत्री और बड़े बड़े पदों पर बैठाती है। और आज फिर भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने पूरे प्रदेश को एक तरफ जहां लोग कह रहे हैं कि चौंकाया, वहीं दूसरी तरफ मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि एक समान और बहुत छोटे कार्यकर्ता को उठा के मुख्यमंत्री जैसे शीर्ष पद पे बैठाया। इसका लाभ हम सभी लोगों को मिलेगा और मध्य प्रदेश में मोहन यादव जी के नेतृत्व में भारतीय जनता पार्टी अच्छा कार्य करेगी। धन्यवाद। प्रवक्ता जी,
Okay, all right. We now have with us, to continue to bring us context on this, our executive editor of National Affairs, Aman Sharma, is with us right here. Let's go over to him for more context. Aman, one of the questions I want to ask you is that in the run-up to these elections, you were hearing many reports of infighting taking place in the Madhya Pradesh and in the Rajasthan state units. When we look at the choices today, the Chief Minister's choice and the two faces that have been chosen for Deputy Chief Minister, in some way, do you see the different camps being placated in these choices, or is that not the attempt at all by the BJP central leadership?
Well, Toya, I think what has happened in Madhya Pradesh is also that all the 3 to 4, 5 contenders we were speaking about, all the media has been in fact speaking about for the last 10 days or so, Shivraj Singh Singh Chouhan, Prahlad Patel, Narendra Tomar, Rakesh Singh, all these people are in a way contemporaries. They started their politics together. They're about in the mid-60s. So I always felt that if a senior leader if somebody is chosen, once among them, there might be a dispute, because we saw this today before the meeting, how Prahlad Singh Patel and Shivraj Singh Chouhan supporters came out with this competitive show of strength. So why going with somebody like Mohan Yadav, in a way you have taken the spotlight away from the top leadership. You go for a Gen Next leader who's like 58 years old. He's a third time MLA from Ujjain Dakshin seat, has been the minister earlier in Shivraj Singh Chouhan's government as the higher education minister in Shivraj Singh Chouhan's government. So in a way, going for somebody, and I think the choice is important in a way. He's an OBC face. So BJP's politics in Madhya Pradesh has always been about OBCs. Right from 2003, we saw Uma Bharti as the OBC chief minister. Then we saw Babulal Gaur. Then we Shivraj Singh Chouhan, 18 years, he was the OBC chief minister. So BJP has focused on OBCs. That is a bigger voting bloc in Madhya Pradesh. That's also something. BJP's politics has been about OBC. They have generally backed the party. So that was a no-brainer since day one, that they will go for somebody who's an OBC. So, but everybody assumed it will either be Shivraj Singh Chouhan or Prahlad Singh Patel, who's seen as the tallest OBC face after Shivraj Singh Chouhan. But BJP, I think, going for Mohan Yadav as somebody who's younger, somebody who's relatively unknown in national media in a way. I remember going for his campaign in Ujjain Dakshin seat, and he had a very, unassuming demeanor about him. It's like, I'm a very honest, very, modest leader and all that. So that is why I think the choice explains itself. We also see Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar being chosen as the speaker, because Mr. Tomar is the senior most amongst all of these leaders. He's 68-year-old, so he's the senior. He's even senior to Shivraj Singh Chouhan. So I think that is why Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar, like Mr. Raman Singh, has been made the speaker. Raman Singh was made the speaker in Chhattisgarh. Here, Mr. Tomar has been chosen. But one important point, besides being an OBC face, Mr. Mohan Yadav also has the blessings of Shivraj Singh Chouhan. That is what I'm learning from BJP sources, that when this whole consultation process was on and this hint was given that maybe Shivraj Singh Chouhan will not become the chief minister again, the choice from Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan, one of the names was Mohan Yadav, because this is the person who's worked as a minister under Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan, and since the choice had to be an OBC, today also at the legislature party meeting, it was Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan who proposed the name of Mohan Yadav as the chief minister. So in a way, BJP going with a consensus, at least that the outgoing chief minister is on board on who the choice will be. We saw that yesterday in Chhattisgarh also, where Raman Singh's choice was Vishnu Deo Sai, and he had recommended his name earlier to the leadership, and Raman Singh was the one announcing his name. So this is the fascinating thing about the BJP, that the outgoing chief minister is proposing the name of the new chief minister, and there is full consensus. So I think that is how the BJP works, this sense of surprise and this sense of complete secrecy. We have seen this earlier, Toya, when the chief ministers of Uttarakhand were chosen, or Uttar Pradesh, for example, Yogi Adityanath was chosen. Nobody expected that he would be chosen. He was also a young face. So BJP also going for these next gen leaders, not just in these states. We have seen that in Uttarakhand earlier, Uttar Pradesh also. In Gujarat, I remember when Bhupendra Patel was chosen as chief minister, nobody had a clue that this person could be chosen. So BJP follows this model very closely of secrecy, surprise, no pressure, no lobbying, no show of strength works in the BJP, especially under Mr. Narendra Modi. It's a choice that the BJP makes very, very consciously, keeps it under the radar, and I will not be surprised if tomorrow in Rajasthan we are also in for a similar surprise, and somebody whom we didn't even reckon to be the chief minister, is not among the probables, becomes the chief minister.
So Aman, we're actually going to come back to you. We'll ask you some more questions. Right now, let's take a look at what the new chief minister of Madhya Pradesh has had to say in the last few minutes.
विधानसभा 2023 की विधायक की इस बैठक में मैं अपने मन से वास्तव में भारतीय जनता पार्टी ये होती जोरदार ताली बजाए मैं आप सबको प्रणाम करता हूं और आप सबका धन्यवाद अदा करता हूं, केंद्रीय नेतृत्व का, प्रदेश नेतृत्व का, समूचे मंच का, मेरे जैसे छोटे से कार्यकर्ता को हमारे सभी मित्रों ने मिलकर कर आपके मार्गदर्शन में जो जवाबदारी दी, यद्यपि मैं उस लायक नहीं हूँ, लेकिन आप सबका प्रेम, आपका आशीर्वाद, सहयोग मिलेगा तो निश्चित रूप से मैं कोशिश करूँगा। एक बार फिर आप सबका आभार, धन्यवाद।
Okay, let's go back to my colleague Aman to understand more. Aman, right before we were talking right now, you were talking about how this is in some ways a familiar pattern of the BJP. But I did want to ask you, there is one notable exception in the last few years in Karnataka, where you had a very, very senior Lingayat leader, Yadurappa, who was even though he was a senior leader, he held such sway. He did step down and you saw another leader take his place. And the disgruntlement was very, very clear. I just want to ask you, because we brought up examples, for example, of Chhattisgarh, where the Chief Minister was part of that handing over. Sometimes when you see these displays, do you think they are for the public? Do you think it's possible disgruntlement may make itself shown in a few years from now? And for a leader like Shivraj Singh Chouhan, what platter could be big enough? He's been Chief Minister.
Well, I think...
we have Kailash Vijayvargiya with us on the phone line. Aman, if you want to go ahead, he's with us right now.
Yeah. Kailash ji, can you hear me?
हाँ जी, आपकी आवाज आ रही है
जी। कैलाश जी जो सिलेक्शन मोहन यादव जी का हुआ है, इसमें तो काफी सरप्राइज का भी एलिमेंट है। एक यंग लीडर है, उज्जैन से आते हैं। आप क्या समझते हैं कि ये सिलेक्शन कैसा रहा है और कैसे वो मुख्यमंत्री का प्रभार संभाल पाएंगे?
देखिए, न्यू इंडिया और न्यू मध्य प्रदेश वो नई उम्र के लोग ही बनाएंगे और मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जो हमने नए देश बनाने का, एक ताकतवर देश बनाने का सपना देखा, उसमें मध्य प्रदेश अपनी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका अदा करेगा। 2047 में हमें दुनिया का सबसे ताकतवर देश बनना है, तो राज्य भी ताकतवर हो और इसलिए ये प्रयास है कि नए लोगों को मौका दें और वे देश के विकास के लिए और प्रदेश के विकास के लिए काम करें।
जी कैलाश जी, एक ये भी था कि कई बड़े नामों की भी बात हो रही थी, शिवराज जी, प्रहलाद पटेल जी, नरेंद्र तोमर जी, आपका भी नाम मीडिया में आ रहा था। तो कि ये मोहन यादव जी का जो सिलेक्शन है, ये इसके लिए सब लोग ऑन बोर्ड हैं? कोई इसमें कोई डिस्प्यूट तो नहीं है कि सब लोग इसमें एक ही मत के हैं? कि
हम सब लोगों ने समर्थन किया और जितने भी नाम थे ये सब मीडिया के नाम थे, पार्टी के नाम नहीं थे। मीडिया के लोगों ने सोच के चलाए थे नाम, ये पार्टी के नाम थोड़ी थे, पार्टी ने थोड़ी तय किया थे कि ये लोग लड़ सकते हैं। आप लोगों ने ही संभावना व्यक्त की थी कि ये लोग मुख्यमंत्री हो सकते हैं, तो आपकी संभावनाएं नहीं हो पाई मीडिया की सही और मोहन जी बन गए।
जी। और कैलाश जी, शिवराज जी 18 साल तक मुख्यमंत्री रहे, तो एक तरह से एक एरा भी चेंज हो रहा है, नए मुख्यमंत्री आ रहे हैं। शिवराज सिंह जी चौहान जी की भी ब्लेसिंग्स पूरी हैं और शिवराज सिंह चौहान का फ्यूचर आप कैसे देखते हैं?
भाई, शिवराज सिंह चौहान जी ने ही उनका नाम प्रस्तावित किया था और हम सब लोगों ने समर्थन किया और हम सब मोहन जी के साथ खड़े हैं और प्रदेश के विकास में हम सब उनका सहयोग करेंगे। जहाँ तक शिवराज जी का सवाल है, तो वे वरिष्ठ नेता हैं और पार्टी उनका कहीं न कहीं तो उपयोग करेगी ही, क्योंकि उनमें क्षमता है।
जी। और कैलाश जी, ये भी खबर आ रही है कि नरेंद्र सिंह तोमर जी अगले स्पीकर भी होंगे असेंबली के, तो वो भी आपके एक सीनियर वरिष्ठ नेता हैं। उनका भी जो एक चॉइस है, बड़ा ही अच्छा चॉइस है स्पीकर, क्योंकि रमन सिंह जी भी कल हमने देखा स्पीकर जी चॉइस किया गया।
बहुत अच्छे, नरेंद्र सिंह जी बहुत गंभीर और जैसा विधानसभा अध्यक्ष होना चाहिए वैसा उनका नाम है और वो बहुत अच्छे नेता हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हमारे, और पार्टी ने बहुत सही निर्णय किया है कि उनको नए व्यक्ति को अगर मुख्यमंत्री बनाया तो एक सीनियर व्यक्ति को विधानसभा का अध्यक्ष बनाकर और एक संतुलन किया है और निश्चित रूप से उनके नेतृत्व में विधानसभा बहुत अच्छी चलेगी।
और कैलाश जी, आखिरी सवाल मेरा कि ये एक ओबीसी समाज को भी एक बड़ा मैसेज है मोहन यादव जी का सिलेक्शन, क्योंकि आपने हमेशा ओबीसी ही मुख्यमंत्री मध्य प्रदेश में दिए भाजपा ने, तो अब भी एक ओबीसी को ही मुख्यमंत्री बनाना एक ओबीसी समाज को भी एक बड़ा मैसेज है, क्योंकि कांग्रेस कई टाइम से कास्ट सेंसस की बात करती रही और कहती रही कि जो बीजेपी है वो कास्ट सेंसस नहीं होने दे रही है, उसका भी एक जवाब है?
मैं इस बारे में कोई प्रतिक्रिया व्यक्त नहीं करूंगा, क्योंकि ये कांग्रेस का एजेंडा है, हम इस एजेंडे को डलना नहीं चाहते हैं। हम तो एक सक्षम और सही कार्यकर्ताओं को काम देते हैं और मैं ये मानता हूं कि मोहन यादव जी को इसलिए मुख्यमंत्री नहीं बनाया है कि वो सिर्फ पिछड़ हैं, वास्तव में वो योग्य हैं, पढ़े लिखे हैं, पीएचडी हैं और काफी लंबे समय तक उन्होंने विद्यार्थी परिषद का भी काम किया है, उन्होंने संगठन का भी अनुभव है और प्रशासन का भी अनुभव।
जी, शुक्रिया कैलाश जी, शुक्रिया,
धन्यवाद।
All right, so we were able right now to speak to the Union Minister, Kailash Vijayvargiya. Aman, you brought us that conversation. Aman, if we could continue to ask you questions here, though, the big question we were asking you is disgruntlement within the BJP. We have seen a few examples in the past of that also taking place quite publicly. What happens then in this question of what do you do with a leader as big as Shivraj Singh Chouhan, someone who's been Madhya Pradesh's Chief Minister for so many years, longest serving BJP Chief Minister across the country. What do you do with someone as senior as
Well, as Kailash Vijayavargiya was just telling us that, all our senior leaders are on board. We all agree with the decision. He has said to, when we asked him that is there some conflict in the ranks, and he also said that Shivraj Singh Chouhan is the one who proposed Mr. Mohan Yadav's name at the legislature party meeting. And when we asked him that, what happens to Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan now, he said the party will give him, he's sure that he's such a senior leader, he's worked so much for the party that the party will give him something. The buzz we're hearing, Toya, is that maybe Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan is brought to the centre now, or maybe in the next term of the Modi government if the BJP wins big in 2024. So the agriculture minister, the post that Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar has vacated now to become the speaker in the Madhya Pradesh Assembly. So in a way, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan is somebody who has good experience of the agri. He's seen as the person who's transformed the irrigation potential in Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
To see somebody who comes with that kind of an experience.
Let me just ask you, what happens to Jyotiraditya Scindia? What do I mean when I say this? In the run-up to the elections, there was a lot to be heard about the leaders that he took with him, the disgruntlement that existed within all of this. Now, we know he didn't run officially for an MLA position at all, but he's been a big voice in the last few months. Do we expect that disgruntlement to have ended entirely?
Well, I don't think Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia had any serious, ambitions to become the chief minister. I caught up with him in parliament. In fact, I saw him in parliament and I asked him, sir, what are you doing here? You should be in Bhopal. So he said, no, I'm in parliament. And when I asked him any scoop you can give us who will be the chief minister, he said that I'm committed to the people of the state. I think Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia has been very clear. As you said, he didn't contest these elections. He was not asked to contest. In fact, in an interview, I had asked him that why didn't you contest? He said, I was not asked to contest by my party. I would have surely contested if they asked me. I am a soldier of the party and I will obey whatever the party tells me. He was very, very high praise for Shivraj Singh Chouhan when I interviewed him, remember, during the elections, saying that the whole transformation of MP has happened. 80 to 90% contribution is of Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan. So Mr. Scindia was never the one who would throw this challenge to Shivraj Singh Chouhan. Also, Mr. Scindia is just about 3.5 years old in the party, somebody who's relatively new to the BJP's way of working. So seriously, I don't think he was a contender for this chief minister's chair, especially because he did not contest also as an MLA. And we are seeing now that BJP has chosen two of its MLAs as the chief ministers, both in Chhattisgarh as well as in Madhya Pradesh. So Mr. Scindia is a union minister for civil aviation. So I think that's a major post. He's involved very closely these days in building the Ayodhya airport, taking reviews there. So I think he has much bigger things on his plate in Delhi. Madhya Pradesh politics, of course, Mr. Scindia wanted to become the chief minister at one stage in the Congress party, when he was overruled and Mr. Kamal Nath became. But I think in the BJP, Mr. Scindia also realizes there is a ladder. And there's a ladder you have to climb, you have to prove your worth to the party, and only then you become eligible for, these kind of posts. But he's a union minister. I think BJP rewarded him adequately.
What about his MLAs though? Has that drama ended? What are the reports that...
I think so, Toya. I think the MLAs, and this time the BJP has performed very well in the Gwalior-Chambal region. Right. So out of the, 34 seats there, BJP won 18 seats this time. Last time they only won 7 seats, if I remember, in 2018. So due to Mr. Scindia, the BJP has gained in Madhya Pradesh, has increased its seat tally, not just in Gwalior-Chambal, but also in Indore region where, Mr. Scindia has some old legs. He campaigned very extensively for the party this time. So I think the win was also a combination of many factors. The campaign of Shivraj Singh Chouhan, of course, the popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the campaign by Jyotiraditya Scindia. It was a team effort, but the reward...
बीजेपी में भी लगातार तीसरी बार से वो जो विधायक बन रहे हैं, जमीन से जुड़े हुए कार्यकर्ता हैं, उज्जैन से विधायक हैं और निश्चित रूप से जो यहाँ तक मध्य प्रदेश की यात्रा, विकास यात्रा चली है, इसको और आगे बढ़ाने की भूमिका उनकी रहेगी।
कई नाम चल रहे थे, लेकिन मोहन यादव
ये काम हमारे स्थानीय हमारे जो नेता हैं उनकी सहमति ये मुख्य भूमिका होती है, उसमें हमारा भूमिका कोई नहीं।
Okay, let's now go over to my colleague Arun Dhanta, who's also with us right now to bring us more context. Arun, we've spoken now for the last few minutes about Dr. Mohan Yadav, but tell us now about the two deputy chief ministerial picks. Arun, it's often said that a certain leader belongs to another leader's camp, a greater leader's camp. Tell us more about these two leaders. Have they aligned themselves in the past with other senior BJP leaders in the state? How do we understand more about their footprint? Arun, are you able to hear us?
Well, see, Rajinder Shukla and Jagdish Devra, these two will be the deputies of Mohan Yadav. And of course, in this in the trio, BJP has maintained that caste equation here. Mohan
ऐसे नहीं होगा यार, ऐसे संदीप भाई आइए ना, एक बार आप इकट्ठे करवाओ ना, संदीप जी आइए, चलिए रंजना, ऐसे नहीं होता है, रंजना नहीं होता है, चलो चलो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस मानी प्रेस हॉल में, कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में, कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में दो मिनट बुला रहा है, 2 मिनट बुला तो रहा है सर, क्या कहेंगे? आइए, ऐसे नहीं होगा यार, ऐसे संदीप भाई आइए ना, एक बार आप इकट्ठे करवाओ ना, संदीप जी आइए, चलिए
Okay, on your screens, Mohan Yadav, new Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, relatively younger, newer leader. We'll talk more about him in just a few minutes. We'll also talk about all of the nation's other top stories. This is The Nation at 5, right here on CNN News 18. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Has been upheld by the 5-judge bench of the Honorable Supreme Court. None of the attempts or none of the intent was nullified. The President had the powers. The Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly's opinion was not mandatory. It was just indicative. The President had supreme powers and the President's steps were not nullified. 370 had to go and 370 is gone. Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. The Constitution of Bharat is supreme. Ek Desh, Ek Vidhan, Ek Samvidhan. This clarion call that was made for many, many decades, upheld by the Honorable Supreme Court in the matter pertaining to the abrogation of Article 370. The creation of the separate union territory of Ladakh has been upheld. Elections by the 30th of September 2024 and return to statehood as soon as possible. These are some of the top lines as stated in the judgment that was read for nearly 40 minutes by Chief Justice Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, presiding over that 5-judge bench.
Different way from the history of Kashmir. Traced out the history of Kashmir relying on the contextual text of Rajtarangni and Bamzai's on culture and political history of Kashmir. Thereafter, I proceeded to analyze the circumstances in which Jammu and Kashmir Constitution Act of 1939 came into being, and then considered the submissions under different heads. Read out my conclusion. More or less, the conclusions are same, except in one of the aspects of Premnath's Call's case, I have taken a slightly different route. That's all. So, the relationship between Union and State of Jammu and Kashmir. The concept of internal sovereignty after the IO, I am of the view that this question has been decided by the coordinate bench of this court in Premnath Call that the state did not lose all semblance of its internal sovereignty, which would include deciding upon the forms of government of the state upon signing of the IO. The distinguishing feature as compared to the other states was that a slightly different path was followed for the accession of state of Jammu and Kashmir by recognizing the Constituent Assembly to be formed for the state. The route of assimilation of state of Jammu and Kashmir was through Article 370. Then I've heard that I've taken note of the various factors such as Article 370's historical context in the text and subsequent practice to conclude that Article 370 was intended to be a temporary provision. As a corollary, there was a mechanism to bring the whole arrangement to an end. The effect of the power under Article 373, once exercised, would be that the article shall cease to be operative. In other words, the mechanism was meant to de-recognize the state's internal sovereignty. Thus, the exercise of power under Article 373 meant that for purposes of the Constitution of India, only the Constitution of India would apply to the Jammu and Kashmir and not any other constitution, that is the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir. The purpose, then on Article 373, I have said, the purpose of the Constituent Assembly was to draft a constitution for the governance of the state. On the other hand, the purpose of Article 370, as noted above, was to slowly bring Jammu and Kashmir on par with the states in India. It can hardly be contended that the second and in some ways a larger purpose would be effected by the fulfillment of the first. The second purpose remained an ongoing exercise long after the State Constituent Assembly was dissolved. Thus, the conditionality in Article 373 of the requirement of a recommendation from Constituent Assembly cannot be read in the manner as to make the reference to the larger intention of the provision redundant. B. The next question is to determine what process is to be followed by the President to exercise the power under Article 373. The President can exercise this power under subclause 3 without a recommendation from the Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly. When the Constituent Assembly ceased to exist, only the power of the Constituent Assembly to make the recommendation ceased to exist. That is, the proviso to Article 370 became otious. The main provision, which is the President's power to issue a declaration, continues to exist. C. Now coming to the...
So different routes of interpretation. So the three judges, the judgment written by Justice Chandrachud, Justice Gawai and Justice Suryakant. Justice Khanna has a separate judgment as concluded, and Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul also has concurred. But although arrived at similar conclusions using a different route. So we are seeing Justice Kaul right now reading out his judgment. But overall, Article 370 was temporary and transitional. It was supposed to try and create an atmosphere or a climate for a complete integration of Jammu and Kashmir into the Union of Bharat or Union of India, and the Constitution, Bharat Samvidhan, reigns supreme. We have two Kashmiris, one part, one full, with us in the studio. Let's speak with them and also go across to our guest, Sushil Pandit with us, Rahul Shivshankar with us. Sushil Pandit ji, namaste. What a moment. Unanimous decision, absolute clarity and comprehensive. Would you agree?
Fantastic. In fact, I am reliving the August 5 experience all over again. If that was a declaration of Article 370 becoming history, today it is the final validation of that judgment, of that decision. So it is no less important because the highest court and the best minds on our bench have decided and decided unanimously. Some of the key inputs here in their judgment which merit repeating to those who are still doubting this issue is, whenever Article 370 was invoked in conversations, it was mentioned that the accession of Jammu and Kashmir to Union of India was conditional, and there were only three matters in which Jammu and Kashmir acceded to Government of India, to Union of India. This has been held to be bogus. There was no residual sovereignty with Jammu and Kashmir when it acceded to India. It has been found unambiguously by all the 5 judges, which means there was nothing holding back Jammu and Kashmir from integrating with India completely, even in that accession. Number 2, that Article 370 somehow attained permanence just because it wasn't removed for the past 7 decades has again been found bogus. It was temporary, which is why it was in the section 21 of Indian Constitution. It had to go, and it has finally gone with the stamp of approval from the Supreme Court. 3, what are the procedures through which this eventually went? I think there again, Honorable Supreme Court has said that the circuitous route of first making a constitutional order through 367 and thereby attaining some kind of power to amend Article 370 was unnecessary. It hasn't been held invalid or unconstitutional, it was only deemed unnecessary, though every effect that decision has taken has been upheld. 4th, it has sidestepped the issue of converting a state into union territory basis the assurances given by Solicitor General.
और आदरणीय सुश्री आशा लकड़ा जी राष्ट्रीय सचिव, तीनों केंद्रीय पर्यवेक्षक के नेतृत्व में बैठक संपन्न हुई है। उस बैठक में भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हमारे वरिष्ठ नेता मुख्यमंत्री आदरणीय शिवराज सिंह चौहान ने मोहन यादव जी का नाम प्रस्तावित किया मध्य प्रदेश के नए नेता के लिए, विधायक दल के नेता के लिए, और हमारे केंद्रीय मंत्री रहे वरिष्ठ नेता आदरणीय नरेंद्र सिंह तोमर जी, आदरणीय कैलाश विजयवर्गीय जी, आदरणीय प्रहलाद पटेल जी, आदरणीय मध्य प्रदेश के हमारे सभी वरिष्ठ नेतृत्व ने उनके प्रस्ताव का आज अभी समर्थन किया है। और मैं मोहन यादव जी मध्य प्रदेश के विधायक दल के नए नेता के तौर पर आज वो निर्वाचित हुए हैं। मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी मध्य प्रदेश की ओर से, मध्य प्रदेश के करोड़ों करोड़ कार्यकर्ताओं की ओर से उन्हें बहुत बधाई और शुभकामना देता हूं। इस अवसर पर भारत के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का, दुनिया के सर्वाधिक लोकप्रिय नेता, देश के गृह मंत्री, भारतीय राजनीति के आधुनिक चाणक्य, जिन्होंने मध्य प्रदेश के चुनाव में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में मध्य प्रदेश के मन में मोदी और मोदी जी के मन में मध्य प्रदेश के अभियान को जनता ने जो आशीर्वाद दिया, कुशल रणनीति अमित शाह जी के साथ भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सम्मानीय राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा जी का जो आशीर्वाद मिला, मैं हमारे नेतृत्व को, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, माननीय अमित शाह जी, माननीय नड्डा जी को और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हमारे नेता जो मुख्यमंत्री शिवराज सिंह चौहान को भी, पूरे नेतृत्व को बधाई देता हूं, हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं कि एक ऐसे कार्यकर्ता को जो विचार के लिए प्रतिबद्ध होकर, जिन्होंने अपना संपूर्ण जीवन छात्र राजनीति से लेकर विचार के लिए काम करने का लगातार जो प्रयास किया है, अथक मेहनत और परिश्रम के साथ जमीन से निकले हुए सामान्य परिवार के व्यक्तित्व को आज मध्य प्रदेश भारतीय जनता पार्टी के विधायक दल का नेता चुना गया है। मैं पुनः एक बार मोहन यादव जी का अभिनंदन करता हूं, बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं और हमें विश्वास है कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में यह मध्य प्रदेश, जो हमने कहा कि अपने स्वर्णिम मध्य प्रदेश बनाने के लिए, मध्य प्रदेश को आत्मनिर्भर मध्य प्रदेश बनाने का जो संकल्प है, आज हमारे मोहन यादव जी नेता चुने गए। उनके नेतृत्व में मध्य प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री के तौर पर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में हम लगातार मध्य प्रदेश को स्वर्णिम मध्य प्रदेश बनाने का संकल्प आज लिया है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने उस दिशा में उस संकल्प को पूरा करने के लिए मोहन यादव जी से लेकर के पूरी भारतीय जनता पार्टी प्रतिबद्ध है। मैं पुनः एक बार मोहन यादव जी को बधाई देता हूं और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का, माननीय अमित शाह जी का, माननीय नड्डा जी का, माननीय शिवराज जी का, नरेंद्र सिंह जी का, कैलाश जी का, प्रहलाद जी का, सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं और मोहन जी को पुनः एक बार बधाई।
रुक जाइए, कोई प्रश्न नहीं। अरे रुक जाइए ना, चलिए बोलिए।
मैं आज की इस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में हमारे अपने प्रदेश अध्यक्ष माननीय वी.डी. शर्मा जी, हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जिस प्रकार से देश में विकास का एक नया आयाम खड़ा हुआ है, यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री माननीय शिवराज सिंह जी चौहान माननीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में मध्य प्रदेश में जो डबल इंजन की सरकार के माध्यम से विविध विकास के नए नए काम प्रारंभ हुए थे, उन कामों के बलबूते पर मध्य प्रदेश ने पूरे देश में एक अलग पहचान बनाई है। मैं माननीय यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी का, माननीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी का, यशस्वी राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष माननीय जेपी नड्डा जी का, मैं हमारे प्रदेश के यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री माननीय शिवराज सिंह जी का, यशस्वी अध्यक्ष माननीय वी.डी. शर्मा जी का, हमारे अपने वरिष्ठ नेता माननीय नरेंद्र सिंह जी तोमर साहब का, माननीय कैलाश जी विजयवर्गीय राष्ट्रीय महामंत्री भाजपा, माननीय प्रहलाद पटेल जी वरिष्ठ नेता, माननीय राकेश सिंह जी और सभी वरिष्ठ नेतृत्व का आभार भी मानता हूं, जिनने मुझ पर विश्वास व्यक्त किया और आज विधायक दल के नेता के नाते से हमने सबने मिलकर संकल्प किया, मेरे जैसे छोटे कार्यकर्ता को एक बड़ी जवाबदारी दी। मैं जवाबदारी की इस बड़े काम को बता सकता हूं कि केवल ये भाजपा ही है जो सामान्य से छोटे से कार्यकर्ताओं को भी इतनी बड़ी जवाबदारी देती है। यही हमारा अपना भाजपा का चरित्र है। भाजपा के इस नए दायित्व के मैं लिए हृदय से आभार भी मानता हूं और आप सबके विश्वास के साथ निश्चित रूप से जो विकास का कारवा बढ़ाया माननीय मुख्यमंत्री शिवराज सिंह जी चौहान ने और यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री के नेतृत्व में, निश्चित रूप से हम इसको आगे बढ़ाएंगे। एक बार फिर मैं हमारे लिए जो स्लोगन था एमपी के मन में मोदी और मोदी के मन में एमपी, इस स्लोगन के आधार पर निश्चित रूप से उनके विकास के सपने को लेकर आगे चलेंगे। मैं एक बार फिर हृदय से माननीय यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय गृह मंत्री अमित जी, माननीय नड्डा जी, माननीय वी.डी. जी का आभार मानता हूँ, माननीय शिवराज सिंह जी का आभार मानता हूँ, जिन्होंने मुझे बहुत बड़ी जवाबदारी दी। हृदय से आप सबका आभार, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। बहुत धन्यवाद। और जनता, करोड़ों करोड़ जनता जिनने इस निर्वाचन में भारतीय जनता पार्टी को प्रचंड बहुमत से विजयी दिलाई थी, निश्चित रूप से मैं सभी विधायक साथियों का, सभी कार्यकर्ताओं का, जिनके अथक परिश्रम से दिन आवाज आया था, ये 5वीं बार भाजपा की सरकार बन रही है। निश्चित रूप से हम सब मिलकर के और प्रदेश की जनता की अपेक्षा के आधार पर इसको आगे ले जाएंगे। एक बार आप सबका आभार।
अभी गवर्नर हाउस जा रहे हैं। माननीय विधायक दल की बैठक की कार्रवाई का मैं पत्र सौंपने के लिए हम गवर्नर हाउस जा रहे हैं।
आप लोग जल्दी पहुंचे वहाँ, आप लोग जल्दी पहुंचिए गवर्नर हाउस।
पुलिस कहाँ है? गृह मंत्री, मुख्यमंत्री चला।
All right, as you can see over your screens, that's Dr. Mohan Yadav, newly appointed Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh as of just a few minutes ago, talking about the responsibility. We'll bring you more context on this story. Right now, though, it's time for a short break. This is The Nation at 5. We'll return with all of the country's top stories in just a few minutes.
Brought to you by...
The statehood would be restored, but the point to be noted here is there is no deadline for that. Whenever deemed fit by the centre in future when conditions are right. So even that power of centre to amend the status of states into union territories, to bifurcate, to unite, to reorganize, has been upheld unambiguously. So this is a wonderful judgment, and it should rest all speculation forever. There shouldn't be any politics in the name of this now.
Absolutely comprehensive. 30th of September 2024 is for the Legislative Assembly elections to be conducted. That's the deadline. But there is no deadline for statehood. Before we bring in Rahul Shivshankar in the studio, quick word from Anusha and Arunima, who've been covering this on ground since morning. Anusha, comprehensive, unanimous. Is that fair to say? That judges, although varying in their interpretations on the judgment, concur with each other. So is this a unanimous verdict? Anusha, just hold your thoughts. We've got Ghulam Nabi Azad's reaction coming in.
जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों का कोर्ट से भी अब भरोसा हट गया है।
मैं ये तो नहीं कह सकता कोर्ट से भरोसा उठ गया, लेकिन ये था कि एक उम्मीद थी, क्योंकि कई चीज़ों में हम सब ने, हिंदुस्तान के हिंदू मुसलमान ने पिछले कई सालों से कहा था जो कोर्ट करेगा वो आखिरी फैसला होगा। जैसे बाबरी मस्जिद के बारे में कहा था, इसी तरह से और कई चीज़ों में कहा था और उसको स्वीकार किया था। तो अब हमारी उम्मीद थी कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट, क्योंकि वो किसी दल की, किसी पक्ष की, किसी सियासी पार्टी से ताल्लुक़ नहीं रखते हैं, और ख़ास तौर से आज की जो ये बेंच था वो बिल्कुल मैं कह सकता हूं कि बहुत ही अच्छा बेंच था, लेकिन अब उन्होंने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को इंटरप्रेट किया और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के हिसाब से उन्होंने कहा ये 370 है। लेकिन मैं बुनियादी तौर पे कहता हूं कि इसको ख़त्म करना 5 अगस्त 2019 को ही गलती थी। जल्दी में किया गया था, बहुत जल्दी में किया गया था, और जम्मू कश्मीर के अवाम से तो कोई पूछ नहीं सकता है, इतने अवाम से, लेकिन जम्मू कश्मीर की सियासी पार्टियों से पूछा जाना चाहिए था, तो वो नहीं हुआ।
पूछा तो नहीं गया। व्हाट नेक्स्ट? पॉलिटिकली कोई और फंडा है या नाउ प्रिपरेशंस फॉर इलेक्शंस?
अब तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कह दिया है कि 30 सितंबर तक इलेक्शन होने चाहिए और उसके फौरी बाद स्टेटहुड देना चाहिए। तो अभी उन्होंने गुंजाइश कुछ रखी नहीं, तो अब ये कह सकते हैं कि ये जो फैसला था कोर्ट का, अब अदालत के खिलाफ तो कुछ नहीं कह सकते, लेकिन उससे जम्मू कश्मीर के तमाम अवाम में, हमें, हमारी पार्टी को बहुत मायूसी और अफसोस है। स्टेटहुड तो उन्होंने पहले ही पार्लियामेंट में कहा है, अब उसमें इलेक्शन का भी पहले ही कहा है, लेकिन इस सिलसिले में कम से कम जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक डेट तय कर दी कि भाई 30 सितंबर से पहले होना चाहिए और उसके फौरन बाद स्टेटहुड होना चाहिए, वो चीज़ तो हमारे हक में है। लेकिन जो दूसरी चीज़ थी जिससे हमारे जज्बात जुड़े थे, या हमारी तरक्की के लिए, हमारी मैशत के लिए, हमारी रोज़गार के लिए, बच्चों के रोज़गार के लिए, या ज़मीन महंगी ना हो, उसके लिए जो चीज़ें थी वो हमें नहीं मिल पाएंगी।
Historic, comprehensive, conclusive, unanimous. The move to abrogate Article 370 has been upheld by the 5-judge bench of the Honorable Supreme Court. none of the attempts or none of the intent was malafide. The president had the powers. The Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly's opinion was not mandatory. It was just indicative. The president had supreme powers and the president's steps were not malafide. 370 had to go and 370 is gone. Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. The constitution of Bharat is supreme. Ek Desh, Ek Vidhan, Ek Samvidhan. This clarion call that was made for many, many decades, upheld by the Honorable Supreme Court in the matter pertaining to the abrogation of Article 370. The creation of the separate union territory of Ladakh has been upheld. Elections by the 30th of September 2024 and return to statehood as soon as possible. These are some of the top lines as stated in the judgment that was read for nearly 40 minutes by Chief Justice Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, presiding over that 5-judge bench.
A different way from the history of Kashmir. Traced out the history of Kashmir relying on the contextual text of Rajtarangni and Bamzai's on culture and political history of Kashmir. Thereafter, I proceeded to analyze the circumstances in which Jammu and Kashmir Constitution Act of 1939 came into being, and then considered the submissions under different heads. Read out my conclusion. More or less, the conclusions are same, except in one of the aspects of Premnath Kaul's case, I have taken a slightly different route. That's all. So, the relationship between Union and State of Jammu and Kashmir. The concept of internal sovereignty after the IO, I am of the view that this question has been decided by the coordinate bench of this court in Premnath Kaul that the state did not lose all semblance of its internal sovereignty, which would include deciding upon the forms of government of the state upon signing of the IO. The distinguishing feature as compared to the other states was that a slightly different path was followed for the accession of state of Jammu and Kashmir by recognizing the Constituent Assembly to be formed for the state. The route of assimilation of state of Jammu and Kashmir was through Article 370. Then I've heard that I've taken note of the various factors such as Article 370's historical context in the text and subsequent practice to conclude that Article 370 was intended to be a temporary provision. As a corollary, there was a mechanism to bring the whole arrangement to an end. The effect of the power under Article 373, once exercised, would be that the article shall cease to be operative. In other words, the mechanism was meant to de-recognize the state's internal sovereignty. Thus, the exercise of power under Article 373 meant that for purposes of the Constitution of India, only the Constitution of India would apply to the Jammu and Kashmir and not any other constitution, that is the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir. The purpose, then on Article 373, I have said, the purpose of the Constituent Assembly was to draft a constitution for the governance of the state. On the other hand, the purpose of Article 370, as noted above, was to slowly bring Jammu and Kashmir on par with the states in India. It can hardly be contended that the second and in some ways a larger purpose would be effected by the fulfillment of the first. The second purpose remained an ongoing exercise long after the State Constituent Assembly was dissolved. Thus, the conditionality in Article 373 of the requirement of a recommendation from Constituent Assembly cannot be read in the manner as to make the reference to the larger intention of the provision redundant. B. The next question is...
Welcome back. You're watching The Nation at 5 right here at CNN News 18. And the visuals that you're seeing right now on your screens of the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Singh Chouhan. He is on his left and right. So on his right, he has the Haryana Chief Minister, Manohar Lal Khattar, part of the BJP selection committee for the next Chief Minister. They've just done their job. As we told you, Mohan Yadav, a Madhya Pradesh leader who headed the health ministry in this state, he's going to be the next Chief Minister of the state as of just a few minutes ago. But what you can see on your screens, Shivraj Singh Chouhan in a momentous occasion handing in his resignation. Remember, why is this moment so important, not just for the state of Madhya Pradesh, but also for political records, for leaders across the entire country? It's because Shivraj Singh Chouhan is the longest serving BJP Chief Minister anywhere across India. These are the visuals that you can see right now on your screens right now. He's just completed 4 terms as the Chief Minister of the state, where the BJP, remember, lodged a thumping victory in assembly elections that just took place. Now let's go to my colleague Aman Sharma, who's with us right now. Aman, can you just tell our audiences, you were with us as just a few minutes ago we covered Mohan Yadav, a 58-year-old OBC leader being announced as the new chief ministerial face. But what could this moment mean for Shivraj Singh Chouhan, someone who's led the state for 4 successive terms, except for that little chunk where you had Kamal Nath, of course, lead it? All right, we'll wait for just a second. We'll wait for my colleague to come back with us. But remember, Shivraj Singh Chouhan, term after term at the helm of Madhya Pradesh, his leadership and what it's come to mean. Remember, this win for the BJP, it's largely believed, also came on the back of Shivraj Singh Chouhan's extensive campaigning in the last few days. It's over the last month when the BJP had yet to announce a chief ministerial face. Remember, they didn't announce a chief ministerial face till the nth moment. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, flying down, leading campaigns. So without that face announced, Shivraj Singh Chouhan led the state to a victory. Many poll pundits gave Shivraj Singh Chouhan that credit. Now we can see him handing in that resignation. And Aman, I just wanted to come over to you to ask you, what do you think in this moment he's feeling? Because he's the longest serving BJP chief minister. He's seen so much in his last few years. Just if you could be in his head for a second.
Well, I think Shivraj Singh Chouhan, 18-year-long chief minister term, almost end of an era in Madhya Pradesh politics. Mamaji, as is fondly called, somebody who is a tried and trusted leader who won the state multiple times for the BJP. Yes, in 2018 they lost, and some people said people were tired with Shivraj Singh Chouhan's face. That is why the BJP fell short. But I think this time in this election he answered his critics. 163 seats, coming up with this huge thumping margin. Also this mega scheme that he launched, the Ladli Behna Yojana. So I think Shivraj Singh Chouhan, for him this might be an emotional moment, ending his chief ministerial term. Many would hope that there are more better things in store for him. Maybe a union minister post in the centre under the Modi government, maybe a governor. He's not becoming the speaker surely because Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar is senior, has been chosen as the speaker. But also I think Shivraj Singh Chouhan, a person with very sharp political acumen. I remember Toya meeting him in Jaipur after the Madhya Pradesh election was over. He had come to campaign in Rajasthan, and in 5 minutes he explained to me why BJP lost in 2018, why they will win this time. He told me that in 2018, he told me, Aman ji, ऐसा हुआ कि 2018 में Congress promised this loan waiver. Just a few weeks before election, राहुल गांधी ने स्टेज से जाकर बोला कि हम लोन वेवर नहीं होगा तो मैं 10 दिन में सीएम बदल दूंगा. मैं उसको काउंटर नहीं कर पाया और लोगों ने राहुल गांधी की बात मान के कांग्रेस को इलेक्शन जिता दिया. बट इस बार ही सेड, फरवरी में कमलनाथ ने बोला कि वी विल गिव 1500 रुपीज टू एवरी वुमन, कांग्रेस प्रॉमिस्ड, एंड गैस सिलेंडर एट ₹500. ही सेड इस बार मैंने मौका नहीं जाने दिया, मैंने तभी काउंटर कर दिया. आई लॉन्च दिस सीएम लाडली बहना योजना, अंडर विच आई स्टार्टेड गिविंग 1000 रुपीज. आई इंक्रीज इट 1250. आई हैव टोल्ड वुमेन आई विल गिव 3000 रुपीज अ मंथ. So something Kamalnath has been left nothing to say with. Also, we are giving a gas cylinder at ₹450, 50 rupees less than what Kamalnath has promised if he comes to power. So he said, मैंने कमलनाथ के सारे promises को पंचर कर दिया और मैं इस बार मैं आश्वस्त हूँ कि मैं जीत रहा हूँ. I must tell you that he told me then that we are winning 150 plus seats. I didn't believe him. Nobody was believing the BJP, but BJP did win 163 seats. So I think this victory in a large measure, Toya, I would say, also due to Shivraj Singh Chouhan's political acumen, his far-sightedness and his work on the ground. 165 rallies I remember him doing in the last 10 to 12 days of the campaign. I remember he apologized to me कि आपको मैं interview नहीं दे पाया because I leave at 7 a.m. in the morning, come at 1 a.m. in the night. So I'm so busy in the campaign. But this moment I feel, now because he's going out of power in a way, but what the Shivraj camp is saying that Mr. Mohan Yadav has full blessings of Shivraj Singh Chouhan. Mohan Yadav has earlier served as a Minister of Higher Education in Shivraj Singh Chouhan's cabinet. So in a way, it was Shivraj Singh Chouhan who has recommended his name to the BJP's top leadership. He proposed his name in case he was not chosen himself.
And it's staying in his camp.
He is staying in his camp. Same I think with Raman Singh in Chhattisgarh yesterday. It was Raman Singh who proposed the name of Vishnu Deo Sai. And now Shivraj Singh Chouhan, in a way, BJP has this culture that, the long-time chief minister they take his concurrence that, who should be your successor. So I think BJP has honored that sentiment of Shivraj Singh Chouhan by making somebody from his camp or his favored person as the chief minister. Of course, BJP has also gone for a Yadav face and OBC face to make sure its state politics is kept correct. But I think Shivraj Singh Chouhan would now be looking forward to maybe a graceful kind of a rehabilitation, I would say, as maybe a union minister.
So what next? That remains the big question. Aman, thank you for bringing us all of that context. So we're going to keep an eye on all of those visuals, all the happening in Madhya Pradesh right now. So that settles the big question in Madhya Pradesh. Now we have one more state to answer for, Rajasthan, and we'll keep an eye on that. Right now, though, we're taking you to a different story, one that's been playing out over the last few days in Odisha and in Jharkhand, where, as you might already know, over the last 6 days, IT raids have been taking place on the properties of the owner of a distillery. Why is this in focus, though? Because the owner of the distillery is also a Congress MP, Shivraj Singh Chouhan, and it's his different breweries and properties in two different states that are in the IT raids focus. Why we're focusing on this is because of the amount of money. 350 crores reportedly have already been collected by the IT department. Their officials busy at counting as we speak. Now, as we told you already, it's been 6 days since the start of the story. Let's take you very quickly to the political reactions with the BJP expectedly training their guns on the Congress. Take a look, then we'll connect with reporters for more.
मुझे तो बड़ा आश्चर्य है, आजादी के बाद किसी भी दल के सांसद के घर से इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में कैश नहीं पकड़ी गई होगी। सैकड़ों करोड़ों रुपए का कैश सांसद के घर से मिलता है और पूरा इंडी अलायंस मौन है इस करप्शन पर।
It's very unfortunate for the Home Minister to speak like this. There is no corruption. Where the corruption comes into picture? He is a Congress MP. He has his businesses. For he has to be answerable about his businesses. He is not in a minister or he is not in any positions under this position of power under this.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता 400 पार की ओर देख रहे हैं और कांग्रेस के नेता 400 करोड़ से ज्यादा का घोटाला कर रहे हैं। अंतर इतना ही है, हम 400 सीटें जीतने की सोच रहे हैं, ये 400 करोड़ का काला धन इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं। ये दिखाता है कि कांग्रेस के लोग नोटबंदी का विरोध क्यों करते थे।
कोई व्यक्ति के कार्यकलाप पार्टी के नहीं होते, वो एक व्यवसायी हैं, व्यवसायी परिवार से आते हैं और पिछले 40 साल से उनका परिवार शराब के ठेकों का काम करता रहा है। इसमें अगर कोई अनियमितता पाई गई है तो कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, इसमें तो कोई सोचने की बात ही नहीं।
भारत के इतिहास में इतनी बड़ी रिकवरी आज तक नहीं हुई। 1947 से लेकर आज तक सबसे बड़ा रिकॉर्ड 183 करोड़ का था, ये उसका दुगुना हो गया है, 360 करोड़ से ऊपर हो गया है। 200 करोड़ के जो है सोने हीरे जवाहरात पकड़ाए हैं। 8 लॉकर खुलना अभी बाकी है, जिसका कि रास्ता बताया जाएगा। ये सारे पैसे कांग्रेस के हैं, इसलिए कांग्रेस को बंगारू लक्ष्मण याद आ रहे हैं। कांग्रेस जो है वो उसको डूब मरना चाहिए, अभी तक उसने पार्टी से उसको निष्कासित नहीं किया है। इसीलिए मैं बार बार कह रहा हूँ कि ये जांच ईडी और अन्य एजेंसियां यदि करेंगी तो पता चलेगा कि इसके तार और कहाँ तक जुड़े हुए।
सदियों से उनकी अपना बिजनेस, कहाँ कमाए, किससे कमाए, सरकार तफ्तीश करे, पता करे। इसके साथ कांग्रेस पार्टी के कहाँ ताल्लुकात है? कांग्रेस पार्टी के कहीं सारूकार है, पता बताओ। कांग्रेस पार्टी के साथ इसका कोई सारूकार नहीं है। ये एक व्यक्ति और वो व्यक्ति एक फैमिली की है। ये पैसा किसका है वो भी हमें पता नहीं। हमारे एमपीज क्या है या फोरफादर क्या है, उनके पिताजी क्या है, भाई क्या है, किसको पता है? और जांच पड़ताल कर ले। लेकिन इसके साथ साथ जिस तेजी से, जिस मतलब जोर शोर से ये मुद्दा उठाए जा रहे हैं, हमारे नीरव मोदी जी के समय नीरव क्यों थे ये लोग? मेहुल चौधरी के समय क्यों मस्का मार रहे थे? तब तो अच्छा लगते थे कि हर लोग के साथ सही विचार करते हैं, लेकिन जब नीरव मोदी की बात होते हैं तो नीरव रह जाते हैं और जो बात उठाते हैं उनको धक्का मार के निकाल देते हैं।
If in Rajasthan low literacy levels have led to the BJP being elected, how did you come to power in Rajasthan 5 years ago? So have literacy levels gone down in your reign then?
Listen to me, viewers. Half of me is a Gaumutra drinking personality, half of me is a bigot, half of me, most probably, viewers, doesn't qualify to even live in the south according to the DMK. That's basically what is being told.
In this entire neo-left-driven academia, it's been intellectually corrupted and intellectually infiltrated by pan-Islamist agenda, which says calling for the culling of a particular community or the dismantling of another is perfectly fine in the academic discourse. the issue is that you cannot insult voters. What the DMK essentially has done for the Congress party is insult the very same voters that the Congress party, having lost their confidence now in the 2023 state elections, in 2024, the same Congress party has to go back to those same voters and can ask for their votes.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Today